everyone. Today I'm in my studio working on the small cold wax and oil painting that I had previously started. It has quite a bit of texture in it, allowing for some interesting things to happen. I like building up layers in my cold wax and oil paintings, and here I'm using a catalyst wedge to scrape some color in amongst the texture. Using a palette knife for this little bit of lighter color that I'm adding. Now I like to try and use different tools because they provide different marks in your work as well. And using a palette knife instead of a brush, I find I stay a lot looser. I don't actually use a brush very often in my cold wax and oil work. I may use it if I want a small touch of detail somewhere, or if I'm maybe making a glaze that I want to brush over an area. But typically, I stick with scrapers and palette knives. This landscape is done from imagination. I am not using a photo reference, so I'm making it up as I go along. I do enjoy working this way. I find I often have better results and can stay looser than if I do have a photo reference. So I continue to respond to the marks and colors that I have put down. And it's a process of adding and subtracting as you go. You have to keep in mind that nothing is precious, and you just have to keep going forward, building up layers, and knowing that in some cases you can scrape it off and you can always add more, especially if you allow it to dry. Adding some more layers onto the sky area here. Just using my catalyst wedge to even it all out. You want to make sure too that you don't leave an excess over the edges, because it is harder to clean off after. So I like to be mindful of that. Mixing up a little bit more of this plum shade using my red and blue. So I like working with a limited palette. I have quite a few of my colors mixed up here, but I would have started with a red, a yellow, and a blue. So I've made this purple color, adding it into the mountain area. So I'm going to bring some of that mauve color up into the sky as well, just so that I don't have a harsh line between the two. This is the beauty of oil paint and oil paint with cold wax and oil, is the blendability of it is so nice. With that being said, it's also easy to overwork things and get muddy areas. Adding a little bit of lighter color back in over top of this. Just trying to get a little bit of distance happening there in the background. Mixing up some lighter pink tones and just coming back in over top of the pink that I have. This is adding a lot of depth as well. The colors in this really remind me of spring, maybe a walk in the meadow, certainly some water, some new growth of green, some pink flowers. So again, I just respond to what's happening on the canvas, or in this case, the panel. Here I'm using a pottery needle tool to scrape back in. Because the wax is quite hard, I need something more substantial to be able to get back in and scrape some lines into this work. So I find the ceramic needle tool is invaluable for this type of mark making. I love being able to get some texture happening by building up layers. I think texture gives a lot of really nice interest to a piece, and it's something that maybe you can't see from a distance, but certainly when you get closer up to the painting, you can see all the variations, which makes it quite exciting, I find. So my paint is a bit wet from the previous layer, so I am blending right on the substrate here. I'm going to leave it for now. I hope you enjoyed it, and please leave a comment or a question.